Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. So, welcome back to our course. So, today is our meeting 9, yeah? After you have finished and finishing your midterm exam, and then we are finally going back to material related to critical writing strategy. Okay, so before we start, let's open this meeting by reciting Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay guys, since this course is actually will introduce you to our new material related to critical writing strategy, so that's why here before you go further to evaluate the text, the article is specifically, you have to know what is the critical writing strategy first. So for the learning objective today, you are going to be able to evaluate English text and English writing, especially article related to language and science topic, in which implemented critical writing strategy through evaluating and implementing activity appropriately and accurately. So that's why, as I said to you before you go further to evaluate the English writing, specifically an article, so that's why you have to be able to know what is actually critical writing strategy. Okay, that's it. Let's get started. Okay, so this is the critical writing strategy. Actually, although there are five critical writing strategies, but eventually you only have to focus on three critical strategies, yeah. First one is recognizing argument, constructing argument, and then evaluating argument. But nevertheless, although you only have to be able, yeah, to use three out of five strategies here, but you have to know what is the rest of them: constructing extended argument and understanding deductive argument or deductive argument. So first of all, here in the center of this layout, yeah, or this was it this table, actually this is like a table or the brainstorming template. There is an argument, the concept of argument. Actually, argument is a form of thinking in which certain reasons are offered to support a conclusion. So this is the example of an argument concept. Actually, this brainstorming layout about critical strategy is taken from John Cafe. I will provide you with the entire and the complete PDF of it, so don't worry about it, yeah. So actually, this is taken from one particular chapter from his book, from John Cafe book. So let's go back to this discussion. And then you only have to be able to focus on three of them. Yeah, three out of five strategies. The first one is recognizing argument related to keywords, and then constructing argument related to decide, explain, predict, and persuade. And the last one, evaluating arguments. It actually in accordance with truth, validity, and soundness. So that's why here, as the first timer for today's meeting, you have to focus on this one, critical writing strategy, in which recognizing argument and the keywords is the keywords. What is that? Okay, I will definitely show you about it. Yeah, but before we specifically go for recognizing argument, we you specifically need to focus on all of them first, yeah, before we separately discuss it as a particular strategy. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so the concept of John Cafe critical writing strategy is only focused on three strategies. The first one, recognizing argument, and then constructing argument, and the last one, evaluating argument, as I said before. But the rest of them, two of them, constructing extended argument, and then and writing deductive argument, are two critical writing strategy that focus to write your critical writing. So that's different, yeah. The three strategies, like recognizing argument, and then constructing argument and evaluating argument are focused on evaluating English writing article specifically and other English writing type. Yeah. While these two, constructing extended argument, and writing deductive argument are focusing on the way you write your critical writing. So these two focus on support your critical writing to strengthen your argument because it will definitely help you to extend your argument, to strengthen your argument. And the last one, writing deductive argument, it means that you are going to further emphasize your argument to a topic, issue, or phenomenon that is related to your argument. Okay, let's see here. In critical writing, extended argument refer to construct several arguments that are formed to extend logical and valid premises of a topic, issue, or phenomenon. While writing deductive argument, in critical writing, deductive argument refer to write argument from premises in blah blah blah, make logical and valid conclusion of a topic, issue, or phenomenon. Yeah, so actually constructing extended argument are definitely formed to support your introduction and body writing of critical writing. While writing deductive argument, it means it will support your conclusion. Yeah. As we know, in such writing, there are three major sections of it. The first one, introduction, body, and the last one is conclusion, of course. So that's why these two are focused on strengthen your critical writing instead of evaluating article or English text or writing. That's it. Okay, since the learning objective today focus on evaluating an English writing, especially article, so you are going to know the first critical writing strategy to evaluate an article or an English writing. The first one is recognizing argument keywords. Keywords is actually the keyword of this strategy. What is that? Let's take a look. Okay, by its introduction, it's clear that in the process of arguing, it is important to be able to recognize the structure of an argument, which consists of reason and conclusion. This ability not only helps in understanding the argument presented, but also in constructing more effective arguments. Keywords serve as clues that help us identify reason and conclusion in argument. By recognizing keywords, we can more easily follow the train of blah blah blah, the writer or the speaker. It's clear, yeah, guys. Keywords here mean keywords. You know, keywords is actually a clue that will guide you to a sum, to a certain path or something that you are looking for. Keywords here, or keywords here, is definitely included to a. Recognizing argument strategy. It means in recognizing a particular argument within an English text or article, let's say, you definitely could see its keywords, whether the keywords is connecting to a some reason or conclusion. As stated here, as emphasized within this slide, it's actually clear, yeah. Keywords, it definitely will guide you to recognize the reason and conclusion within the text. What is that? Keywords here mean the arguments that is elaborated by the writer or the speaker. So, by recognizing keywords, it means we can more easily or easier follow the train or the understanding or the purpose of an argument that is elaborated or emphasized either by the writer or the speaker. Is that clear? I think it is. Yeah. Because this is only the concept of introduction. In order to strengthen your understanding toward this recognizing argument strategy, let's take a look at the next slide in the following slide. Okay, we have discussed the keywords in terms of its introduction. the general introduction, but this one specifically discuss the definition of keywords. Keywords are words or phrases that indicate that a reason is being given to support a conclusion, or that a conclusion is being stated based on a particular reason. These words serve as signals that direct our attention to important parts of the argument. Example of keyword for reason include because, since, in this case, and as a result. On the other hand, example of keywords for conclusion. Yeah. So before we go further to the keywords for conclusion, let's take a look at this one. Example of keywords for reason. Yeah. So there are two type of keywords. The first one is keywords for reason, and the second one keywords for conclusion. As we can see, example of keyword for reason include because, since, in this case, and as a result. On the other hand, whereas the example of keywords for conclusion include therefore, thus, consequently, and show that, blah 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 blah. Maybe therefore, in conclusion, and then hence, thus, and so on. Hence, yeah, and so on. By understanding these keywords, we can be more effective in analyzing and evaluating arguments. So it's clear. Actually, keywords is sounds, if we take a look at the example of keywords, we all have already familiar with this one, yeah, because it's like the adverb, the transitional adverb that we could find it in such writing, yeah, because it definitely in accordance to several what is it, connector in writing, such as because, since, in this case, in general writing, this keywords is actually emphasizing your argument, and the purpose or the aims may be to, not maybe, it's definitely to strengthen your argument, to connect between your argument and among your arguments. Um, that's definitely clear, yeah. The keywords here are the connector to strengthen your argument. Why do these keywords are important? Because we can be more effective in analyzing and evaluating arguments. So that's the importance. Okay, so there are three importance of keywords in recognizing argument. The first one is help identify the structure of an argument. Keywords make it easier for readers or listener to follow the writer's or speaker train of thought. Improves understanding. By recognizing keywords, we can be more easily understand the relationship between reason and conclusion, of course. And the last one supports critical analysis. Keywords allow us to analyze argument more critically by considering whether the reason given truly support the stated conclusion. We can evaluate the strengths and weakness of the argument. So this is the example of how keywords use. Yeah, the example of keywords usage, the use of keywords. The first one, in the argument for the legality of marijuana, yeah. So we have discussed an argumentative essay, yeah, related to whether a marijuana should be legalized or not. So in the argument for the legality of marijuana, let's see here. Because many people believe that marijuana is harmless, the legalization of marijuana should be considered. The keywords here is because. Because reflects the reason. And then, therefore, reflects the conclusion. So, in this sentence, yeah, the sentence is actually has two different keywords. The first one, because, reflects keywords for reason, and then therefore reflects or include two keywords for conclusion. Okay, let's see the second example. In the argument against the legalization of marijuana, let's see, the sentence is Because marijuana use can cause health problem, it should remain illegal. Illegal. Yeah. The keywords here still the same. Reason, use keywords because, and then for the keywords conclusion, still use therefore as the keywords. As the keywords. So that's the example. Okay, so this is the classification of keyword. We have already understand this one, yeah, in the previous slide, but it's not bad if we take it as our understanding of how the keyword works in such classification in its classification. As we know, keywords has two type. The first one, keyword for reason, because indicates, I think it's typo, because indicates the cause or reason underlying a claim, because implies a clear cause and effect relationship. In this case, indicate indicates the specific context in which the argument applies. As a result, yeah, as we can see, indicates the consequence of an action or situation. It can be concluded that implies that the argument presented blah 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 a specific conclusion. As we can see here, keywords for reason, there are so many example of keyword for reason, because in this case as a result it can be concluded that, yeah, although the words here conclude, in which most of people know it as a conclusion word, yeah, but eventually it can be concluded that it can be classified as a keyword for reason. Because why? Because it implies that the argument presented is related to a specific conclusion. It can also be used as the word adverb connector to emphasize the result of two different argument, or maybe two similar argument in which then concluded together. Okay, classification of keywords for a conclusion therefore indicates that the conclusion is based on the reason that have been presented, then implies a logical relationship between the reasons and conclusion, thus indicate that the conclusion is a result of a thought process, shows that, implies that the conclusion is supported by the evidence or argument that have been presented, and it can be concluded, implies that the argument that have been presented lead to a clear conclusion. As you know, here it can be concluded also found, yeah, in this classification keyword for conclusion, but actually the concept of it is totally different. It can be concluded for a conclusion implies that the argument that have been presented lead to a clear conclusion. It means that it's a final words, it's a final phrase that implies that the argument that have been presented, whether on the body or the introduction, lead to a clear conclusion within the conclusion section or part. That's it. Okay, we have come to the conclusion. So, keywords in conclusion, yeah, in short, keywords are an important tool in recognizing and understanding arguments. By understanding and using keywords, we can improve our critical analysis skill when it comes to arguments presented in various contexts, whether in writing or conversation, both in writing or conversation. The use of keywords not only help recognizing argument, but also in constructing clearer and more structured arguments. Okay, so that's the conclusion of how the use of keywords in such critical writing strategy, especially when it comes to an evaluation, yeah, and critical writing in such various contexts or area. Okay, not only a conclusion for specifically recognizing argument keywords, but I also come with this summary for the three critical strategies. So, argument is a form of thinking in which certain reasons are offered to support a conclusion. Keywords for argument help us to identify reason and conclusion. Arguments are inferences that we use to help us decide, explain, predict, and persuade. We evaluate arguments by investigating how true are the supporting reason and do the reason support the conclusion. A valid argument is one in which the reason support the conclusion so that the conclusion follows the reason offered. Deductive argument or deductive argument is an argument form in which one reason from premises that are known or assumed to be true to a conclusion that follows necessarily from these premises. And the last one, some common deductive argument forms include modus ponens, modus tollens, disjunctive syllogism, and application of general rule. Okay, so that's the summary for all the strategies displayed on the third slide here within this PPT or material. So, for your today's exercise meeting, you are going to have your individual work or tasks. So the direction is read the following article below. Evaluate the article according to critical writing strategy, recognizing argument, then answer the following question. Since the topic for today's meeting is related to language and science, so it means the the topic for today's exercise is definitely the relationship or the role of language in science. Yeah, specifically, the title is the role of language in science. So I'll definitely give this exercise to you, and don't forget to submit it on time. If you have any question related to this exercise, do not hesitate to reach me directly through my WhatsApp. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let's close this meeting by reciting Hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. See you next week.